Strive presents. Oh, got to get ready.
Laptop. Plant. That looks nice there.
Ooh, cookies, yum.
Notebook. Microphone, webcam, and coffee, of course.
A video podcast where deaf, hard of hearing, and disabled creatives and their allies chat about experiences, best practice, and the future of the arts. The Green Room.
Welcome to The Green Room, a weekly video podcast produced by the Strive Collective, a collaboration between Hot Coals Productions and the DH Ensemble. My name is Jennifer Bates. Everyone calls me Jen. And this is my sign name. So I take two fists. I kind of put the fists facing outwards and then you keep them down your kind of body, chest body, and then you shake them from side to side. Jen. That's my sign name. I am white. I have longish, reddish, dark hair. I'm wearing a blue top today and I've got a cream background, plain wall with a radiator. I'm in my house in Glasgow, and if you can hear my accent, you'll have noticed I'm Scottish, and I'm super happy to be here today. So over 12 weeks, we have been having the most exciting chats with some of the brilliant deaf, disabled and neurodiverse talent and industry allies here in the UK and internationally. We have been celebrating best practice, spotlighting unsung heroes and inspiring others to keep access and diversity front and centre from now until the coming months and coming years. We publish each interview at 7:30 on a Thursday on our YouTube channel, and you can have all these details on our project website, our YouTube channel, and our social media channels as well. You can tweet along with the conversation if you're into that by using the hashtag #thegreenroom_UK. That's hashtag #thegreenroom_UK. Amazing. So I would like to introduce my BSL version, that's all right. So today my interpreter is Tracey Tyer, the lovely Tracey Tyer. Tracey, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, good afternoon or good evening, depending on when you watch. My name is Tracey. My sign name is you grab your wrist and you pull away with your two fingers. Some people know this as the sign for Sweden, but it's not. There's no relation. I'm a white woman with short, dark hair, glasses, and a rather lovely new jumper with a lightning flash from left to right in rainbow colours.
Fabulous. Loving the rainbow jumper. Clocked it as soon as I saw you. And our guest today is the brilliant Rachel. I'm going to try this. Nwokoro.
Yeah, that's great.
Rachel, my love, would you like to give us a wee intro for yourself?
Hi, I'm Rachel Nwokoro. I am a Black woman. I have a afro and I'm wearing glasses, pinky lipstick, hoop earrings, gold hoop earrings, a black top, 2 rings. One's an amethyst crystal ring. I'm sitting on a black chair with a white background, and I'm in my parents' house in London, northwest London. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm going to introduce my lovely BSL version, Naki.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nakisayi Laursen. I'm a Black woman. I've got long, well, just sort of COVID length hair, black hair. I have a dark blue dress, and yes, I've got a ring and a gold band on my hand.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for that. That was beautiful. So that's the 4 people in the room today. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. So I'm going to do a bit of a formal bio, Rachel, for you. So if anyone doesn't know who Rachel are, I just want to say you must. You must know who this person is. I'm seriously, I've joked before the interview, but I'm telling everybody I may just fangirl over the place. Like I just have devoured your work. I think it's incredible. I'm
really
so
kind
happy you're here.
That's so kind of you.
I mean it, my love. Honestly, I really, really mean it. I think it's fab. So I'm going to do a bit of a bio, right? You ready for this?
Yeah.
So Rachel is many, many things. And those things include being an actor, a writer, a director, a spoken word artist, and an artivist.
Yeah.
Rachel has won many awards, and these include the Black British Theatre Award Inaugural Disability Champion 2020, the Stage Best Debut Performance in a Play 2020, a UK Slam Championship in 2016, a Roundhouse Slam finalist 2016 and 2017, and a World Slam finalist in 2016. And in addition, Rachel has worked with several companies, and these companies include, you ready for this, Tracey? The Royal Shakespeare Company, Royal Court, Soho Theatre, the Lyric Theatre, the National Theatre, Her Majesty's Theatre, ITV, Stonewall UK, So Far Sounds, and Brainchild Festival. And I could go on, because the list is really incredible, and I'm so glad that so many people can see your work. So that's our formal intro done. And now we're going to be in our green room and we're going to relax. So we get to have a little, yes, exactly. That chill moment where you get your little cup. All the sweat is still kind of stale and all of that, but you get to have a one-to-one cat check-in and a wee chat, and that's what we're doing today. So thank you so much for joining us. The last 12 weeks or thereabouts, we've been interviewing all these amazing people, and I'm really happy that you're here with us today. So I wondered if we just wanted to kick it off by you just telling us a bit about your background. I did the kind of formal bio, but I wonder if you could let us know sort of how you came to become the artist that you are today.
Great, yeah, of course. I am really influenced by what I see around me and wanting to make the world better. That's really my fuel. I'm Igbo, Nigerian, Black woman, queer, disabled, neurodiverse, and occupying these different intersects allows me to live in multiple worlds and thus see how many different perspectives and truths exist, and can be wonderful, and that really fuels my work as an artist, is trying to transmute the expansive nature of my consciousness, which is just like quite a cosmos. I call it my neuroverse. Into forms of expression, into fractal manifestations that we can use to like better understand our humanity and our place here. And definitely so much my heritage as being an Igbo woman, in that my family has such, from an early age, rooted me in my Indigenous culture. So I have a real affinity with our interconnectivity as beings, and the need for love in revolution and justice work. And that while having experienced some like terrible things in my life is a really cool intersect as well, to try and have like very much become aware that I am a real embodiment of love. I would have to try very hard not to be, and I've tried and it doesn't really work. Like, so a way to respond to some really dark parts of our collective psyche, in a way that doesn't create further destruction, but does not allow us to bypass the processes we need to do. And I think this is the work of the creative and the storyteller, and I could make it synonymous with revolutionary in my eyes. So many revolutionaries have been creatives. So this is, it's not really, it's just that's a big muddle of where I've been, where I am, and sort of where I'm going. I guess my roots have really put me on a path or a calling in my work.
Yeah, I think everything that you said is completely wonderful. And I completely wholeheartedly agree. And I think what I would want to reply to that is that I can see all of that in your work. Like, I can see all of that history and all of that knowledge and all of that research, and all of that wanting to come from a place of love, but to make radical change through that. And I think that's really something that I strive to do as well. So when I saw, that's kind of your ethos, if you like, I just thought, that's, to me, that's what DHE is. That's what Hot Coals are. That's what all these companies are that are really kind of, I sort of think we're all we've all got the big picture, right? But we're sort of flying our own little flags in our way, but equally like trying to support each other and keep each other up, because, it can be tiring at times.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking about, I wrote a list from your website as well about how you describe yourself. And I just want to applaud you for that, actually, because of your kind of self-awareness. And we just witnessed that in how you answered that first question. You didn't answer it with well, I'm an actor and, all that kind of thing. You just go deep. And I think that's what art needs. It can be, right? And that is, and as you said, with through the love, but not bypassing any of the hard stuff. Right? So if I may, I want to read this list out.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much. In a beautiful kind of awareness way. So Tracey, are you ready? So we go, this is how Rachel is described on her website, folks. Multi-disciplinary artist, sacred storyteller, published author, angelic agitator, cultural leader, creative innovator, artistic explorer, dream scientist, access guardian, imagination wanderer, light worker, freedom fighter, abundance advocate, radical pioneer, goddess, energy alchemist, spiritual psychologist, PTSD survivor, and soulful human. And do you know, I was so desperate to put this in the chat because I want people to know this. And I don't.
It.
Yeah,
I eat it. Lovely.
It's so beautiful, and I literally read that, and I just applauded my computer. Yes, a person that can be aware of all those pieces of who you are, and value all of those pieces. And I don't really have a question actually around this, but I think what I do have is an invitation to anyone who's watching this conversation, because my invitation would be to write your own list.
It's a beautiful one. I extend it also, and thank you, because it's a great thing to do. That's no small thing to invite people to look at their different selves in a really empowering light, and with specificity. Like we do really. That's a big part of where Rachel Shapes comes from, is that world of transformation and not being fearful of these cycles of death, life, rebirth, and becoming something new. That's like what creation is. That's what creatives do. And that's so it's great. I just thought it's a great thing to invite people to do and allow themselves to be them, like fully themselves.
And so often I feel that we're like, okay, you're allowed to be that one and that one and that one, but it's actually not okay to be that one. But actually, if you didn't have that one, you wouldn't be able to make the work you make, right? And it's about owning all of that and taking real ownership of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Totally.
Amazing. So with all of this, with all of who you are in mind, I'd love to invite you to have tell us about your recent project, your most recent project, the Black Minds workshops that you've been doing. Just the floor is yours, my love. Please tell us.
Oh, wonderful. So it's part of a larger project, Black Mind, which is a multidisciplinary art as activism project that I'm working on with the wonderful Coco Brown, who is my creative producer. And it's got many branches of this tree, and Black Mind Blooms, the workshop season, is one branch where we've got these 4 pillars that we want to explore and improve for Black people in Britain, which are mental health, well-being, justice, and joy. And so in these workshops, we explore these 4 pillars with facilitators, working with different intersecting communities with Black people. And it's a life's work, really, this beautiful seed that we are germinating and cultivating and nurturing. It's real in the trenches of the grassroots, and it's such a blessing to be a Black woman working with this Black mixed woman who is creating our own path in a movement that already has existed for generations before us, and hopefully will cease to exist at some point. A fight for freedom. So the idea of this project, which is at the moment virtual, is we're focusing on branches that we can produce while we're in this state, because it's part of our practice to be very able to evolve and to basically like move time around based on how our circumstances change. So we're able to we got some funding, and we're trying to source different resources from organizations like interpreters and Zoom accounts for the bits where we're under, because we're building and we're growing, and have a big commitment to be transparent about it being really hard to try and do great work in this world. It's not like glamorous, like, oh, we're perfect, we're out here. But that's why it's Black Mind Blooms, because we're growing. And the other little bit that we're we've got a bit of funding on, and we're launching soon will be this zine called Bad Mind, which will have, it will have different commissioned works or reimagined works from Black people in Britain that respond again to those 4 pillars. And we're just really looking towards archiving, documenting the legacy of justice workers and artists that are so often Black, disabled, queer, and marginalized and erased. And to reinvent what the idea of archiving and collecting processes of work looks like. Changing, like, all these things, the conversations we're having about practice and decolonizing and wanting to bring models of care, like you talked about it being exhausting. And I immediately just thought, collective care, like models of how, you support each other in times like this, how to show the building blocks of that happening for, hopefully not times where things get rolled back and dismantled, and future generations want to know how do they do it? Like, we're thinking about these things.
I mean, yes to all of this. Yes. I love that. Mental health, well-being, justice, and joy. Like, beautiful. I'm so intrigued to know the process you're going on to dismantle and rebuild. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that? Just tell me a little bit more detail about what does that look like for you in that kind of space? Or
do you mean in terms of our like the way that we operate?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I do.
Well, it's much of it comes very rooted from who me and Coco are. And that's a beautiful thing. We're very clear in our vision of not being interested in exclusion and not being interested in compromising our integrity for profit, and not like wanting to abolish the police and wanting to dismantle capitalist structures and not wanting to exploit people, and wanting models of care and love and nurturing, and to want to prioritize that there are minds, bodies, hearts and spirits in a space with all different needs, desires and capacities, and that to acknowledge that and have an awareness of that and to embrace our difference and celebrate it and navigate it could allow us to evolve as a human consciousness, and for us all to do our best and to work out optimum. And so starting to make systems around that truth, that shared truth, and with our talent, and making language that doesn't exist, and being like, we are capable of governance, we are capable as communities that believe in love of creating order from this chaos. We can't get worse than it is now, can it?
Oh, no, can't. Get that out. No, you're completely spot on. And do you know, I'd written in my notes, right, I'm going all over the place now, but I feel like this is what we need to talk about, because we're talking about, I am always questioning duty of care, right? What is my duty of care in that rehearsal room as the director of DH Ensemble? In many rooms, I am the director in DH Ensemble. And how do I really care for the people in that room? Like, what do they really need? And they're about to be very vulnerable. They need me to hold a safe space. They need me to make them they need to be protected. They don't need to feel protected. They need to be protected. Yeah? And I clocked on one of your Twitter. You write, I act, direct, write, speak, love, and rest. And when I saw the word rest, I was like, yes, because that we're not talking about rest. We're not talking about giving people space and time. That's another thing you've also said. And again, I was like, yes, I need to speak to this woman. The thing that the arts industry, this is a direct quote from you, Rachel. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
You said, I believe, the thing that the arts industry doesn't do for disabled people is create space and time.
Yeah.
And particularly from an access point of view, I wonder if you can speak to that from your point of view.
Yeah, I think it's pretty deep because it speaks to not challenging what feels like the immovable, the status quo, because we need to. When I'm saying going radical, right to the root and like digging out the most uncomfortable things, there is resource.
Mm-hmm.
There is absolutely resource. So in the term of the way like energy works, it's possible to move around space and time. We're actually able to do it in the way we understand the world. And for me, it's about respecting myself and the other people that I can't even see enough to vocalize who isn't in the space that could be. Mm-hmm. You know, why I have a question mark inside me. That's a very real thing, that I won't just accept something because someone has told me that's the way it is. And very often there's something in me that just jars, because I will question the intent of why something is the way it is. And a lot of the time, these things are made to appear rigid as a block to like something so much greater. So what I guess what I believe is that to create time, you need to think about the provisions that you want to make for an abundantly accessible space. At the formation of a seed of an idea, really, like that should be at the start. It should be in there with the nucleus, with all the other things that make the idea brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely, completely, absolutely. Yeah, I'm loving this. Just when you say that, we mentioned about the block, my first question is, and who put that block there? Right? And why did they put that block there? And then, yeah, just as you said, how do we literally get into the root of it, and constantly asking questions, right? Constantly having to question ourselves as well.
Well, yeah, because there's a myth, there's an illusion that it's things that happen fast are better, or things that happen in a very, what people perceive to be like simple way, but it's actually just linear, or a way that is familiar is better. Yeah. And a fear of chaos and the positive creative element of it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, completely. So I'm intrigued to keep going, keep having this conversation, and I want to talk a bit about your poetry, your spoken word. And I'm just going to do a proper fangirl thing and be like,
oh yeah. That's super sweet.
Mate, honestly, I read Medusa online.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm getting this book.
Amazing.
I am absolutely, and it's just incredible. And every single line, every single word, I'm like, yes!
I'm so glad.
To know that, and I think the something you do so well that I think I always want art to do is to make me feel like you're talking to me.
Yeah.
I feel like when I watched How Much, I was like, this woman is talking about my experience, but then I know you're talking about other. Like, it was just so specific and yet so universal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that you do really, really, really well. And just linking this to what you were talking about the idea that process is linear, or something that happens quickly is better, because to me, when I look at your words on the page, or when I see you perform them, to me it feels like it's literally just happened. Like it looks so easy, and it looks like it's flowing out of you, like you have a little creativity tap and you just turn it. And I imagine that's not the case. So just for funsies, I would love to know what your personal artistic process is, and how does that get from your body onto the page? Or
I would. Yeah, of course. It's a wonderful thing that my creative space is often either like, it's very much a natural landscape. It's either my neuroverse, what I would talk about, my like, it's just like my cosmos, or I become in under the ocean. And when I talk, and those are the landscapes, often that's the sort of landscapes I'm in, but the process itself can vary very much.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can imagine, it can be like, I could be wading through sludge, but or I could be in like fresh waters, but what resonates is the spark.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I know there's something to pursue. That's something that is my my goddess, my soul, my like intuition, my like higher mind can feel an idea that's like, keep going with this, keep swimming. And then there'll be a very familiar tugging that's like, no, this is ludicrous, this is wild, you're too far in the deep. And that's usually when like I'll keep going, because I'll know that that's fear and doubt and all the things that block creatives.
Fear and doubt, all the things that block creatives, and many other things, right?
It can be really a great wisdom, like being able to be aware of what the things that want you to turn away from something are, because it's still all information that I found. Like, I love the process. I'll go very expansive. I will see a vision, and the vision has got sensations in it, and I know that I'll sort of go in a certain direction, and it'll feel like, oh yeah, it's good, find some more details here, or research something until you feel a ping, research something until you feel a ping. It's like when you hear a note that feels right. But then it will just be a time to stop that and go somewhere else, and I sort of build. Yeah, that's what I say in it, and it's not a template sort of format. To find, because I'm that multidisciplinary aspect of my storytelling has really liberated me for a long time into knowing that best serving the story and letting that lead me is the most grounding thing that allows me to go wherever, because I know I'm like, oh no, that's not quite right for us, like we're in this together. I'm not trying to squeeze it into a form that it doesn't work for best, like because I'm scared to go into another terrain.
I feel I don't want this to come across as corny in any way, right? But I just want to say that being aware of yourself, like, is not crowbarring the thing in to fit the mold, and being led where you feel it needs to go, whether that's really hard, is really courageous. And I don't mean that in a cheesy way. I mean, like, I'm so grateful there's people like you that can tap into that intuitiveness and that knowing and that cosmos, as you said, like, that can tap into this thing that's so much more than...
Yeah, it's bigger than the commission. It's bigger than whatever topic you're working with. Like, why, how does this thing satisfy your soul? Like, when will you, why am I doing it? Why do I want to do this? Like, why? And it's not cheesy to me at all. It's one of that is actually one of the sicknesses of our industry. It's believing that this is with love, is believing that virtues and like affirming virtues is like cringe or cheesy. It's like courage is a beautiful thing that we struggle to recognize on a day-to-day. I really appreciate that.
I'm so glad you do, because I really do mean it as like a thank you for being courageous.
I do. I was looking recently at the word, like the root of the word is from Latin cor, which means heart. And then I noticed that in French it's cœur, and I think something else is corazon, and just the idea of speaking from your heart as to be feel like such a risk, but actually being so brave.
And that is where change happens, right? That is where the real impact happens. That where people, if you can honestly stand in that and be heart true to yourself and in a place of other people as well, like that's where that's it. Yeah. And it's just the journey to get there, right? Like that's what the struggle is, and we have to deal with the world that we live in.
Yeah, we do, but we're in a real pivotal time. We're in another civil rights movement. Like this is, we're picking up the baton for our elders and ancestors in the 70s and long before. And we have a real opportunity here not to continue down a path of destruction as a collective. And I have a lot of faith and hope. That's the real truth, is that I believe that things will be better.
Yeah, I do too. I'm with you. There's so much we could chat about, and I would love us to talk about yourself as a director and as an actor as well, if we may. So I, in my research discovered you had directed Funeral Flowers by Emma Dennis Edwards, and that performance won a Fringe First at the festival, and then a Philippa Branganka award as well. And I mean, I was reading up on it and it just sounds incredible, and I'm gutted I missed it actually. So just for everyone else watching, I wondered if you wanted to tell us a bit about what that was. It was part of the Power Play site-specific showcase as well. It sounds incredible. Please go on.
Yeah, that was wonderful. I worked with Funeral Flowers for a couple of years. We took it first for a full-length run in Edinburgh, and we sold out. It did really well. Emma was incredible, and it was just this, the kind of theatre I love, playing with form in so many ways. So we had the site-specific element. We took over this flat in Edinburgh and led the audience through different rooms, and Emma had a one-on-one sort of direct speech relationship with the audience, which I love, and that wall breaks.
That's a major thing that we have in our work. It's like, if it's live, let's make it live. Right?
Exactly, and not pretend like there isn't some fluidity here, and that we're alive. We're alive. We're alive. Exactly. So that was just a joy. It was a joy, and Power Play was part of this group of series of shows that were all written by women and starring women, which was wonderful to be a part of and to work with Emma, this fantastic Black woman and writer. And then we were able to evolve it to a transfer to London for a small tour around a few venues. And then it had a 3-week-long run at the Bunker. And that was it was a gift for me as a director, as and such a learning process. I realized how different it is for me to work as a director with a disability than my other fields, my other disciplines. And it needing the specific support structures in place, like how lonely it can be in all honesty, and how difficult it can be to ask for support, unless you're, again, very prepared for the difficulties that will arise. And I believe I learned a lot about needing to create systems. That was a big introduction to the importance of creating systems far, far in advance for yourself, as well as everyone else that you want to safeguard.
Can you give us an example of a support system that you were like, this is great?
So we had this incredible associate and assistant director, Sophia Tara Compton, who I think was just an essential asset to the production. And I became very aware along the process how necessary and how much a gift that was for me. But also, I think the content of the show being having a lot of traumatic themes inside it, and me being having PTSD, is something that I think there is a real disparity with how I can even still recognize my physical disabilities over my mental disabilities, and giving value to being aware of having a system, regardless of whether you think you need it, it should still exist.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is a sort of dark spot for me in believing that I'm so beyond competent that I would say because I can do it, which is obviously the trap, then I will, because otherwise you have to intimate something that I think is a harder language with psychological disabilities, to intimate your access needs without feeling exposed. It's a very different experience at least. So
yeah, no, carry on. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, so I think, and a lot of the things about trauma responses as well, being, either dissociation or just being that sort of panic, means that if the system isn't in place and known by more than that person before the moment, then you may have more than capacity to work, but may not be speaking from an informed place for the best way to nurture yourself and put your needs on top of the needs of people around you or the production. So it was a lesson for me about responsibility for myself and accountability for myself and boundaries with myself in terms of my health, and how that better serves serves the production. But it's hard because, I always give myself the grace in that these systems didn't exist. We had a really small budget and things were very fast. And I was, when you're disabled and you're not, especially as a Black woman, definitely not seen to be a member of this community. It can be very difficult to assert. I find it so hard to assert my needs. Like, so hard. So I was definitely much further behind in my journey for even knowing what they were, not to talk of communicating them, and navigating the guilt. Like, remembering that I was not where I am now, and I now had to navigate a lot of guilt, or a lot of feeling less than for not being able to do everything that I could do before, on a journey also with my conditions deteriorating because of state neglect or X, Y, Z. So it's like, that's the moment you get forced into being a pioneer and an activist, when you have to forge your own path because it doesn't exist. And you're like, oh, baby, give yourself love. Come back to love. You don't know. No one, you're working these things out.
Yes. And in a way, it's sort of helpful. Just as you say, I don't want to paraphrase badly what you just said, but just that idea of giving yourself permission, right? Like, I didn't know. I did the best I could under the circumstances, but now I know, and it won't be the same again, right? And just as you were talking there, like, you, as a Black woman particularly, you're not seen in these spaces, and you have to kind of, like, because nobody's asking you, right? Nobody's asking you, what do you need? No one's asking you, how can we support you in this? And I just want to say this, like, kind of publicly, like, I think, in my opinion, that's the first step that anyone could take, is to, like, ask the question, right? Like, is there, I suppose, in looking back, like, is there some kind of wisdom that you wish other people would know? So you don't have to push and pioneer and be the trailblazer.
I think there are so many people, organizations more equipped than me, really, that exist, that are doing this work, and for it to be budgeted, for there to be a role that is in charge of access. If you are putting on anything in the arts realm, anything anywhere, for goodness sake, but that's not my jurisdiction right now. Like, because if we're doing it, right, with touching truth, like, that's not a small thing. It changes people when they enter and exit spaces, even digital spaces. That's why we have these words, safeguarding. Like, it feels like a real strong, important word, and yet, like, it can become real slippery when it comes to the everyday. So I think, access as that, like, me and Coco really hammer accessibility as standard. And so there is a system for someone to ask the question, or the person is there to ask the question of people. And that person can really easily, research. I've been at it for a minute, and you can research and you can learn and you can ask questions that mean that you have an offering. The difference it makes for an institution to say to its most marginalized people, like, we've seen you, like, we have learned from the things you've already been saying, and we're not coming with empty hands. We have something, and it might be wrong, but we wanted it to say, we have thought of this, we have this, and we're open to listen. I mean, that's not specifically with funeral flowers. That's just from a past. That's an energy from a past life that I'm like, that forethought. To the fact that we're not having posh white audiences anymore. Like, that's not what the narrative is. We're expanding our definition of storytelling and mirroring our communal existence. And how do we do that?
Storytelling and mirroring our communal existence. Everything you say, I just want to applaud you, Rachel. And then I feel like we haven't even touched on your time as an actor, actually. But I understand from what I read, and please, this is your floor. It seems to me that the space and the time was put in place for you to do your best job, and because you were able to do your best job, you did really bloody well at it. And everything like that.
Yeah, I think it's honestly the more I've been able to, and my agent Wendy, I call her Mama Wendy because that is the energy. They're like seeing me as another daughter of this fucking universe and cheerleads me as such in this industry. She's Mama Bear, and she's like, we're gonna get you what you need, and supports me to articulate and work out what that is as being fair and right and just matter of fact. She doesn't even mess around with it, and that I'm not used to being, again, that courageous. She's bold, and asking, she'll be like, we'll ask, and if it's not, if we can't get it that way, we'll look another way. It just, that in itself is also radical for me. And we're very similar in a way as being survivors. So she supports me in believing that I deserve to have the things that enable me to do my work in the best possible way. If these people are saying they want me to be there and be welcome, she's like, yeah. And that's more of what we need.
Yeah. And I mean, shout out to Mama Wendy, right?
Yes, Wendy.
If we have people like that on the side,
honestly, just cheering us on. That is what we need. Mm-hmm. We need to not be scared of love in a professional space. Mm-hmm. Like, for it not to be only deemed a creepy thing to care about people. Like, honestly, it's one of the best parts of my day to get a self-tape or an audition or just a message from my agent, because I know that she cares about me. Mm-hmm. Like, that connection is not primarily about profit or about her demands or needs. Mm-hmm. And it makes everything work better.
It does make everything work better. Completely. Completely. Rachel, I feel like I've literally just scratched the surface with you. I want to talk with you all the time, forever. And we can change the world.
Oh, yes.
Please, let's yes. I wrote down abundancy of access. At one point you mentioned abundancy of access, and I just want to highlight that as well. Like, yes, from the start, from day one, from before day one, like.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got to be in
abundance. Because then we can work out how to make it run, efficiently. It's not just allowed to be acceptable to be present either. We, as disabled people, we know something can be there and not work, or be on the whatever floor, or be dirty, or be whatever. Or, we deserve to feel that, to be valued.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And thank you for bringing so much value to this conversation. I'm not even at my thank yous yet, actually, but I just okay, what I am at, though, because I can't believe that's our time up, what I am at is our quick fire round.
Amazing.
Okay, you ready?
Give me a second, because I just want to get the laptop charger.
Oh yeah, go. Laptop charger, folks.
That's very important. Okay.
And
fast finish. Okay.
Yeah, totally battery dead. I'm just checking mine's charging. Good, it's all good. Right, okay, so this is the silly, ridiculous bit. And it's just like this or that, and you have to answer as fast as you can. Okay. Right, so this goes like this. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Cat or dog?
Dog.
Ooh.
I have both.
Oh, right. I had told us you had a favorite
something
child.
In my spirit called out.
But that's maybe maybe just today, maybe tomorrow it's
exactly. We're always changing, impermanence.
Absolutely. Okay, costume or set?
Set.
Joe will be happy about that. Everyone's been picking costume. Sea or mountain landscape?
Sea.
Pub or restaurant?
Pub.
Late night or early morning?
Late night.
Right. Okay, this one could be a tricky one. So I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm about to. Performing your own words or someone else's?
Oh, my own.
Cruel to ask. Your own. Yes, of course. Good. And my last quick one here is poetry. Read it quietly or say it out loud.
Say it out loud.
Yeah. Beautiful. And then my final question that we ask all of our guests is, because this is called the Green Room, and we want to honour all these buildings that have not been open for a full year now, and all these beautiful green rooms that have been a safe space for so many artists. And we're just sort of announcing which green room holds a special place in our hearts. So do you have a green room that makes you feel all warm and fuzzy?
The bunker comes to mind. They had that, it's gone now, but they had that little writer's nook there, and that always just felt like a really warm and welcoming space for artists. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's our chat. No, yay!
Thank you. Thank you
so much. So I'm going to do a few wee thank yous here. So I thank you for joining the Green Room. Thank you so much for watching and listening. And thank you to our beautiful, fabulous, talented interpreters today. Whoop, 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 whoop. And thank you to David and Harry and Trevor for being the unsung heroes and doing all the hard work, and thank you so much. And a big thanks to the other members of DH Ensemble and Hot Clothes Production for all they do. And finally, a massive thank you to Rachel for just being a brilliant guest. You are everything I hoped and more, and I've totally fangirled all over you.
Thank you. It was such a joy. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. So to everyone watching, if you have enjoyed this conversation and you want to join in the chat, please leave us a comment on the YouTube or use a hashtag #thegreenroom_UK on our social media. And next week is another episode of The Green Room at 7:30 on Thursday. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Guest, Rachel Nwokoro. Host, Jennifer Bates. Interpreters, Nakisayi, Laursen and Tracey Tyer. Music, Road Trips, Off Shane. The Green Room, a video podcast produced by Strive, a collective made up of the DH Ensemble and Hot Coals Productions. You can find all the videos and audio recordings of this series at www.strive.org/the-green-room. Twitter @strivecollective with no E. #thegreenroom_UK. Celebrating best practice, spotlighting unsung heroes, inspiring action. Logos for Strive, Hot Coals Productions and the DH Ensemble, supported using public funding by Arts Council England.